All right, let's talk about the foundation of any great Python code. You know, your code is only as strong as the structures you build it with. And those structures, they're your data structures. Think of them as the actual blueprint for writing code that's not just functional, but clean, fast, and logical. So, let's get to it. In this explainer, what we're really doing is handing you the architectural plans for Python's 4 core data containers. My goal is that by the end of this, you'll know exactly which tool to pull from your belt for any job. This is how you make sure your code isn't just working, but that it's truly elegant. So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with how Python actually thinks about memory. Super important stuff. Then we'll meet our big 4 containers, we'll break them down into 2 pairs, the ones that care about order and the ones that don't, and we'll wrap it all up with a killer cheat sheet to guide your decisions. Okay, first things first. Before we can even start building, we have to understand the ground we're building on. Seriously, how Python sees and manages data in memory, well, that's the key that unlocks everything else we're going to talk about. You know, this right here busts a huge myth that trips up so many people. We all kind of think of variables as little boxes or buckets where we store stuff, but that's not how Python sees it. For Python, variables are just labels or pointers. Take a look at the code. When you say B is equal to A, you are not making a copy of that list. All you're doing is slapping a second label B onto the exact same list object in memory. And that's why, when you change the list using A, you see that change when you look at B. They're both just pointing to the same thing. So let's zoom out a bit and see where all this fits. At a really high level, you can think of Python's data types as falling into 2 big camps. On one side, you've got your simple primitives, a single number, a single word, and on the other, you have collections. These are the big structural containers we're focusing on, the ones designed from the ground up to group, organize, and process a bunch of values all at once. All right, it's time to meet the stars of the show. I'm telling you, getting really good at Python logic, it all comes down to knowing which one of these 4 amazing tools to use and, more importantly, when. So here they are, each with their own core identity. A list, that's your versatile train, an ordered sequence where you can add and remove cars. A tuple, think of it as a locked vault. It's secure, it's unchangeable. A set is like a powerful filter. Only unique items are allowed through. And a dictionary? Well, that's your perfectly organized filing cabinet, an indexed map to find exactly what you need in an instant. Let's start by digging into our first pair, lists and tuples. The big thing that unites these two is that they both care deeply, deeply about order. The sequence of things matters. Okay, the list. This is your absolute workhorse. Like those train cars, it's ordered. Every item has a specific spot in line. It's indexed, which means you can call any item by its position, like users 1 to grab Bob. And here's the crucial part. It's mutable. You can change it on the fly after you've made it. It also doesn't mind duplicates at all. See how Alice can show up more than once? No problem for a list. So why is this so important? Well, all that flexibility makes lists just perfect for things where order is everything, like server logs or any kind of time series data. You can even use them to build an undo feature with append and pop, or just use them as a simple container for stuff you need to loop over one by one. Now let's meet the list's counterpart, the tuple. At first glance, it looks pretty similar, right? It's ordered, it's indexed, but there's one massive difference you can see right here. It is immutable. Once you create a tuple, it is locked down for good. You cannot change it, you can't add to it, you can't remove from it. If you try, Python will stop you cold with a type error. So you might be thinking, why on earth would I want a limitation like that? Well, it comes down to 2 huge benefits, safety and speed. Check out the memory comparison. A tuple is just lighter. It takes up less space because Python knows its size is never, ever going to change. This makes it perfect for storing things that shouldn't change, like database credentials or a set of coordinates. And here's a neat trick. It also means you can use a tuple as a key in a dictionary, something a mutable list can never, ever do. Okay, let's switch gears and look at our second pair. With sets and dictionaries, we're trading that idea of a fixed sequence for something else entirely. Pure, unadulterated speed. They get this speed by using a secret weapon under the hood, called a hash table, which is basically a super efficient index for finding things instantly. So a set has one simple superpower, uniqueness. That's its whole deal. When you create a set from a collection of items, any duplicates are just, poof, silently vaporized. What you're left with is an unordered bag of unique items. There's no first or last element. The only thing that matters is whether an item exists in the collection or not. And this obsession with uniqueness opens up some amazing doors. You can perform really cool mathematical operations, like finding all the common elements between two sets in the blink of an eye. But its most powerful use case, high-speed testing. Asking, hey, is this user ID in my massive list of 1 million users? Well, that's slow. Asking, is this user ID in my set? That's instantaneous. We call it O of one time. It doesn't matter how big the set gets. The answer is always immediate. And that brings us to the dictionary. This is your filing cabinet. Instead of an index number like 0, 1, 2, you get to define your own unique key to access your data. This creates a direct map, a connection, from a key like the word role to its value, admin. And just like with sets, this lookup is instantaneous, totally bypassing the need to search through a long list. Dictionaries are, without a doubt, the backbone of so much modern programming. They line up perfectly with data formats like JSON that you get from APIs, letting you model complex, nested information like a whole user profile. They are absolutely essential for grouping related data together, and for things like high-speed caching, where you store the result of a difficult calculation so you can retrieve it instantly later. Wow, okay, we've covered a ton of ground. So now let's bring it all together. Let's build the most important tool of all, a clear, simple framework for making the right architectural choice every single time. This matrix lays it all out on one page. Let's just trace the trade-offs here. You can see how lists and tuples are great at preserving order, but their search speed is linear. That means the bigger the list gets, the slower it is to find something. But look at sets and dictionaries. They offer constant, or basically instant search speed. So that's the trade-off. It's all about choosing what you need most and what you're willing to give up to get it. And that brings us to it, the ultimate question that every single developer faces when they sit down to write a new piece of code. You've got these 4 distinct tools, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. So how do you actually decide which one is right for the job? Well, here is your answer. This decision matrix makes it so much simpler. You just ask yourself a series of questions. What's my main goal? If you need to map keys to values, boom. Use a dictionary. End of story. If you just need a collection of items, ask yourself, does the order matter? If the answer is yes, ask one more question. Will I need to change it later? If yes, it's a list. If no, it's a tuple. And if order doesn't matter at all, but you need to guarantee uniqueness, well, that's a job for a set. And right here is the final takeaway. Making these choices on purpose, not just by accident, doesn't just make your code work. It makes it better. Choosing the right container is the difference between slow, clunky software and logic that is elegant, efficient, and what we call fundamentally Pythonic. So I want to leave you with this thought. These aren't just a random collection of tools. Think of them as the fundamental physical laws that govern how your code actually behaves. If you understand the laws, you can build anything.